Hi everyone, I scanned this mask pattern into PDF file already, but under the description box on YouTube, there were no option for me to attach the file. So I'm just going to go over in kind of paper like this. Just make sure it is 6¼ across and 7½ up and down. And each seam allowance all the way around are 1/4 inch. By the time the mask is done and made, it is about 6½ inches vertical. That's adult mask, okay? If you don't have a curve ruler, just do your best to do the curve. The upper part where the curve and kind of go around like that, that's for the nose. There are several options that I have. These are craft wires that I have way back, and thank God that I thought about that I still have some of these left somewhere, and I went in my garage and looked for them. So I cut them into 4¼ or 4½ inch right here. This is after I cut. You need a clipper like this to cut, okay? And after I cut, I use this called nose plier. It's for making jewelries. I use this and I clip it and then I curl it. So they look something like that, so that they don't poke your nose when you insert it in the mask. So use this nose plier to curl them, okay? So this is after the cut, this is after the curl with this. So when you cut is with this plier, and when you curl is with this plier, okay? Clipper, round nose plier. Now there's another options. If you go to grocery store, you'll see something like this, but they are covered with papers, but this one covered with plastic. This is the best to use, but it is not quite strong. The wire is not quite thick, but it's better than nothing. If you have those, you can go ahead and use those, or use something from the old mask, okay? From an old mask, it looks something like this. If you take that filter paper apart, it will look like this, okay? And then I use the nose plier to curl it, like right there, if you can see. I curl on both sides. That way, when you insert it in the mask, it does not poke or cut your nose. I cannot guarantee you how many times of washable mask can be used out of all these wires, okay? This have some kind of coating, but the coating does come off when I cut. This one's aluminums. I don't think it will rust, okay? This one might last a little longer. I modified curvy into straight edge for elastic. So I traced my pattern over the filter papers. They kind of look like paper and cloth at the same time. They are washable. I traced that over that and I cut. And this is one of the fabric that I didn't really like the print. So I'm going to use it as another layer. The more layers, the better. And just make sure you have the right side facing each other like that. Okay, so this is after you trace the fabrics with the pattern and then cut. So this is going to be my inside filter. Nobody gonna see, okay? So this going to be reversible mask. You can use both sides. The good side face each other like that, and then just have them face each other. And then the filter hugging the good fabrics. So the good fabrics with the good prints stay on the inside, and then whatever filter you want to use. If you don't have filter, just use another layer of fabrics. And the other side's going to be blue. So whatever going to be the inside. So like for example, this one's going to be the inside, okay? I'm gonna use it to wrap the good one that you want to be on the outside. So when you sew, the inside fabrics will cover the good fabrics like that. It's kind of work the opposite. When you sew or make stitch, the one on the inside, you want to wrap the one on the outside, okay? So let's make some stitch now. Leave 1/4 of an inch for seam allowance all the way around. Press with fingers from the back sides for neatness before we iron. Okay, for this part, find the nose. There's the curvy parts right here, curve and curve. Those are the top or the nose. Match the curvy nose and the correct side of the fabrics together. Match the center stitches from both sides of the mask with a pin. I recommend pinning the stitch or the flap of the fabrics on opposite end. That way it is easier on your sewing machines. Pin top and bottom center seam together. Fabric or mask will shift and move during the sewing process. Don't forget to do a couple return stitches when you get to the seam joint. That way your mask is nice and strong. Flatten the mask down for even stitches. There will be a little wrinkles or uneven stitch due to the curve of the mask. Do a couple return stitches when you get to the center on both top and bottom side of the mask to secure the mask and the stitches. This is my magic tool for making masks too. The plastic knitting needles. Most curl wires turn out to be 4 inches or 4 1/4. Find the center point of the mask and mark 2 marks on left and right. This mark will be sewed vertical down at least 1/4 of an inch to insert the wire. Make a 1/4 inch vertical stitch and push the return stitch a couple times. Expect some wrinkle stitches due to the curve of the mask. Now insert the wire and do a close stitches where the wire are inserted. Cut 2 pieces of 7 inches elastics. We're going to seal the mask by making stitches all the way around. Make sure elastics facing the same directions before sewing the other ends. Avoid hot iron on the elastic because it will melt.